Hi, everybody. It is time for me to do my bullet journal setup for the month of October 2022. This is my passion planner journal. I'll be upfront with you. I didn't touch my bullet journal this month. I had all these grand plans for using it to try. I mean, I did use it a little bit to like make notes and so on and so forth, but I didn't use it to do any of the things I thought I was going to do this month in terms of tracking things and so on and so forth. This month has wound up being much more intense, the month of September, than I expected it to be health-wise for me. The closer you get to full-blown kidney failure, the more rapidly sometimes the shittiness of being in kidney failure and late-stage renal disease these things happen faster and faster and get crappier and crappier. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. And my two big things I wanted to do this past month were give up soda and go on the Peloton every day. Neither of those happened. So what I'm going to do for this next month is focus on just the Peloton, and we'll see how that goes. Before I get into my theme and everything for the month, let's quickly look at the supplies. As I said, I have a passion journal, passion notebook, I think is what they call it. It's the bigger, the B5 size. I'm pretty sure I'm going to switch to A5 next year if I do continue to bullet journal, but we'll talk about that in an upcoming video. I have my journal. I've got my cutting mat and my slice tool. I've got my markers, which we're going to talk about in a second because I actually need to do a little bit of culling, I think. And then for the pens I'm going to use in it, I've got the Pitt Artist pens I've been using, my medium and my small tips. But for the ultra fine tip, I am still on a no spend. And I wound up getting some Staedtler pigment liners with a voucher I had at Michael's because they didn't have any more of the extra small Faber-Castell pens. And I didn't want to have a different size. So I will be using this pigment liner in the 0.1 size for my smallest pen. The band will be one of my absolute favorites that I had not quite found a spot for yet. The Bee Gees. I love the Bee Gees. Ask my family. Much like the Four Seasons, the Bee Gees and the Four Seasons tend to be two of the bands or the groups where there are songs of theirs that if you get them into my head, I will not stop singing them for like the next month. And for the number one of both of those in the Four Seasons category, that would be Who Loves You? Who loves you, pretty baby? And then for the Bee Gees, it's often More Than a Woman that gets me going, although You Should Be Dancing seems to be the other one that I just cannot get out of my head. Now, for my flowers, I had done my poll in my Patreon group the same as I had done it in past times, and the one that won was Fall Leaves, but the one that was the runner-up was Black Eyed Susans, and I had really wanted Black Eyed Susans. Oh, this pen's kind of dying down too. My fucking Pitt Artist pens are at the end of their life. It goes to midnight. Anyway, Black Eyed Susans were something I really wanted to do, and somebody suggested that I do Fall Leaves and Black Eyed Susans. So that is what we're going to do, I think. It's a pretty basic doodle, but this pen is starting to die on me, so I need to grab another tip size. I did have an extra of this one, so that's good. Okay. Anyway, so that is going to be my October theme. Now for the colors, actually go into this page, and what I want to do, I didn't do this ahead of time, so I thought this could be fun to show on camera. Because there are two separate color schemes / flowers that won in my Patreon poll, I have an embarrassment of riches when it comes to markers. However, I already pulled out the two that were overlaps. Like there were two colors in this pile not in this pile, but when I was going through and pulling together everything for this video, two of the colors that I had picked in both the Black Eyed Susans and in the Fall Leaves were the same. So instead of having a total of 12 colors to choose from, I have 10. But I want to narrow this down to 6, I think, because I think that would be a little easier to work with. I have a lot of browns here and a couple of golds. And I'm going to keep the 2 golds because they are the only, like this here. And we'll go over the final color palette again. It'll show up when I do my setup. But these 2 golds is like a bright yellow and like a more orangey gold, like yellow. These 2 I'm going to stay because for the Black-Eyed Susans especially, those are really necessary. And then the other one that's kind of similar is this terracotta. And I'm going to hang on to that one as well. So now let's look at the rest of this pile of browns and see if I can narrow it down to 3. This is a nice, rich, dark brown, which is going to be right at the top of my list because I need something that is dark but not black. This one is also another dark brown. These 2 are actually very similar to each other. I kind of want to go with the Tombow because it has both tips, and so it'll be a little bit more versatile. So this one, the dark sepia from Faber-Castell, is going to go back to my storage. So we'll add this dark color here as another one of the colors. So now what we need are a couple of like mid-tone browns because we've got these lighter colors right here. So this one is Sanguine. This one is really pretty, but it's also really similar to this one. And as a matter of fact, I might want to swap this one for this one. So these 2 are going to stay right here to the side. One of those will get picked, the terracotta. And then we have this one, which is a much more kind of standard brown. And I kind of want to keep that one as well. So maybe we'll add that one to the Tombow. This is a much warmer brown. So that's a definite keep, maybe. But this one is like a reddish brown. And then this one is another dark brown. So we'll take the dark brown out of the equation. I definitely want to go with the slightly darker of the, not this one, I'm gonna go with this one. So here. And then I really like this reddish brown right here, this one. And I think that one will be a good addition. But this one's a more basic brown. And then I've got these 2. Well, that one's already been picked. So I don't know what I'm talking about here. So that one's already been picked. But this one is kind of a lighter, more warm tone brown. And then this one, I think we'll cut this one because it's a little cooler out. Now we'll go with the warmer ones. So the final color palette that we've gone with, I will have this living in the description box, is Faber-Castell Cadmium Yellow 107. Faber-Castell Dark Chrome Yellow 109. Sanguine Faber-Castell 188. If I'm pronouncing that wrong, you can let me know in the comments. India Red 192, Faber-Castell. And then the 2 Tombows, we have 947, which is the like kind of warmer standard brown. And this really dark, rich brown, which is 879. Like I said, these will be in the description box in case you want to recreate this color palette. I have not done any prep in here in terms of counting squares out or whatever. This is the most like fast and loose I've played in bullet journal land in a while. So I'm just going to fake it till I make it at the moment. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with a window, because I think what we want is a window looking to the fall leaves that are falling outside. So maybe what I'll do, this could be kind of cool. Maybe what I'll do is grab a pencil. Fucking been penciling, and maybe that's why I'm cursed with my bullet journal this year, is I'm using a pencil way more often than I usually do. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna fake, without measuring or counting squares, because fuck that shit. I'm just gonna draw in a big empty box to serve as a window. And then underneath that, what I'm going to do is draw just a very light vase kind of shape. And then in the vase, we'll have some Black-Eyed Susans. And then behind the window, we'll do leaves. that's going to be my idea here. And I could actually, since I'm using the slice tool, actually drawing in window panes. That way it'll look even more like a window. This is going to be an interesting situation. And maybe what I'll do is I'll make the whole window in black and no. We'll do the window in color. No, we'll do the window in black and white. And then we'll do the leaves behind it in color. That's going to be the way to go. Okay, so that means let's get some windows drawn, some flowers drawn, and get going. There's something about cutting straight lines that is so much easier than trying to cut around things. Now, I'm not saying my straight lines are the straightest, but it's a little less nerve-wracking. So we've got the window drawn in, and I'm thinking, do I need to draw like the window frame to make it a little more obvious? I'm kind of thinking I do. So what I'll do is just go up above, as above, so below. It's a little wonky looking, but it kind of gives you the window idea. And then up here, what we'll write is October. And did I actually center it? I actually centered it. Holy shit. So this gives the front part. Now underneath, what I want to do is have some falling leaves and then start my quote. I'm not going to put a little calendar or anything like that in because there's not going to be a good spot. But the quote I want to kind of have go around so that you don't see it, and then just have the leaves in the center, I think. And so the quote, this whole month, I'm going to be doing all quotes from one Bee Gees song, More Than a Woman, which is my favorite Bee Gees song. Although, like I've said, You Should Be Dancing, Tragedy, those are two others of my favorites. And again, I love a bunch of other Bee Gees songs too, but More Than a Woman is just, it's what we call my barf dancing song. So I'm just going to write that quote around the edges, and I'm going to use this India red, I think. Not the most, here in your arms, I found my paradise. Oh, my only chance for happiness. Isn't the most neatest, but it's still working. And so what I think I'm going to do is draw in some leaf blobs and then do quick sketchy outlines around them. I think that's a pretty cool little cover. So we have this side is all done in black and white, and then this is all done in marker. And I did leave some handprints on the side, and I think I'll do the same thing on the next page, because what I'm going to do here is do a quote on this side and then the bullet journal style calendar on this side. Again, I'm basically replicating what I did last month in terms of the Peloton calendar to keep track of what I want to ride my bike, or what other things I do, and we're going to just give that a try and not worry about the soda, and we'll just see what happens. Although I did get a soda stream, so if you do have a soda stream at home, I've had several of my patrons tell me that using a soda stream really helped them reduce their soda intake, and so I would love any tips that you happen to have on how to do that, especially with a soda stream. I am just going to freeball this. Okay, there's something wrong here. October should end on a Monday. Did I miss a day? Okay, how do we figure this out? Monday the 3rd is correct. Monday the 10th. Monday the 17th, Monday the 24th, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 24, 25, 26, 27, 20. Oh, I forgot 28. That's why. Okay, I'm trying to figure out what I did wrong. And it was like the numbers were all lining. Everything was lining up till we got to these last couple days. And it's because I fucking missed. So, yeah, whiteout. It's nowhere near, has been no, fingers crossed, this has been nowhere. I shouldn't have even whited out those days because those were right. It was just the numbers that were wrong, but whatever. I should just be glad that this is my first mistake, right? So what I think I'm going to do is, I'm going to go in with this yellow and I'm going to block in the weekends. Not that that really matters for the purposes of this calendar. However, I think what it does do is kind of give me a little bit better of a reference for what is going on, like how the month sort of falls out. And then for the actual lettering across the top where I just want to put Peloton, I'm going to actually do the lettering in this big brown, big and brown. Except I can't spell. It's like I'm fucking pet. No, this has nothing to do with my pets. Okay. Peloton. And then what I'll do is, in similar fashion to what I did with the leaves, I will loosely create the outline. Now, this is one of my favorite things to do. And if you are new to block lettering, you don't have to freeball your block letters. You follow the contours of the lettering when you're doing the outline, but don't worry about like not being perfect, because the whole stylized look of this is to not be perfect. You kind of want it to be wonky looking. That's sort of the style. Now, it's also sort of the crooked, but whatever. We're going to go with it. So this is Peloton here. And then on this side, I am going to continue the rest of that quote. And I want to add another couple of Black-Eyed Susans in the black and white, and then do a few leaves, and then do the lettering in black and white, and then do the leaves again the same way that I did them on the other side. So ambitious. So I think I'm going to go with a slightly chunkier, well, quite a bit chunkier marker here. And you'll notice when I'm doing these Black-Eyed Susans that they're very scraggly. And that's because a Black-Eyed Susan in and of itself is very scraggly. It's not the most, like, voluptuous of flowers, I guess, if that's a thing. Kind of long and lanky. Reminds me of me when I was going through puberty and growing 1.5 feet in a year. For those who don't know, I'm 6'2", and I was not 6'2" when I started my freshman year. If you would like a more in-depth tutorial on how to both draw and paint Black-Eyed Susans, I did a really fun one with my patrons last week, 2 weeks ago? I think it was last week. And the replay's up on my Patreon if you would like, available to all levels, if you would really like to check it out. I don't generally market my Patreon here, and it feels really fucking weird. So, you're welcome. I am smearing all over the place. Smearing. Okay, so we've got a couple of black and white Black-Eyed Susans. And now I will take this opportunity to do the same lettering that I did on the October side for the rest of this quote, which is, "And if I lose you now, I think I would die." And here is my quote. It looks a little janky, but you know what? I'm okay with it. If I use my bullet journal this month, that'll be enough for me. So I think I'm just going to leave it at this and not try and fuck with it. I've already smeared all over the fucking place. So I think I will end it here. I'd love to hear from you in the comments, any SodaStream recommendations that you've got, as well as what are you most looking forward to about fall? If you are in the Northern Hemisphere and it is fall for you now, what's your favorite thing about fall? And if you are in the Southern Hemisphere, why don't you dream about fall? Because I know it's not fall for you right now. So let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, friends, peace.